Peace, infinite waters, diving deep once again. How to deal with an existential crisis. You may be on the toilet. You may be in the shower. You may be walking down the road by yourself and you hear this. You don't hear anything. It's just silent. I heard of this term back in university in a psychology lecture from the 19th century Danish philosopher Kierkegaard, who talked of the truth being subjective, not objective. The truth changing based on our relationship to it. A lot of the existential train of thought goes that life has no inherent meaning apart from the meaning we give to it. Life is absurd, many say. Philosophy is fantastic, emanating from the Greek word philosophia, philo, love of, Sophia, Egyptian goddess of wisdom, Sishat. It's amazing because when the lecture finished, I walked outside. A friend was sitting down. She said to me, "Life is one big joke." It sent ripples all throughout my body because I said to myself, it is. And right now on the planet, the global awakening, we are seeing that nothing is what it seems. There is so much more going on. The money is not real. It is fiat currency. The politicians are there, but are they talking from their heart? The media is like a comedy show. In fact, there was a video showing how all the news stations were saying exactly the same thing. So when we are talking about an existential crisis, we are seeing that the world we thought was real is in fact an illusion. How do we deal with this when everything we once believed to be true, we now find out is a lie? I call the existential crisis an existential awakening because it frees you. It's not about running away. We see that we are the architects of our own reality. More so, we take responsibility 100% for where we find ourselves. We become alchemists, super transformers. More so, we realize we are all we have. Nobody is coming to save you. We are the ones we are waiting for. The existential awakening is all about accepting yourself 100%. So when we feel life has no purpose, no meaning, the awakening is where we see we have to go within to give it meaning. Life is only pointless when you don't give it a point. Once you give life a point, you become the center of it. You start creating instead of becoming a consumer, which so many of us are. Eating popcorn, watching the TV. You begin saying that, wait a minute, This is all an artificial construct. So now we begin seeing and taking the radical action for the life we want to create. Dealing with an existential crisis and moving into an existential awakening is about seeing the power has been with us all along. That can only happen once we begin loving ourselves 100%. I remember after graduating, I was so happy. I said, yes, I've qualified. I've made it. And after that, I realized, wait a minute. Was that a test of true intelligence? Because even though I studied psychology and criminology, I learned most from my own personal research. Yes, it had its benefits, but getting the information, reading books like The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho, books by Dr. Viktor E. Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning, fantastic. Anthony T. Browder, The Nile Valley Contributions to Civilization. This is what moved me from the existential crisis into the existential awakening, because it moved me into the direction of knowing thyself. 5 words. 5. High five. I am not a victim. And that is how to deal with the existential crisis. You have the awakening. You begin connecting with people who remind you who you are, an infinite being. I'm not my race, religion, gender, nationality, because the truth is based on our belief systems. Therefore, we have to let go of the idea of who we think we are to become who we are. We are living in a fantastic universe. So many things, amazing things are happening. But it's all about creating your own world. I found out the word degree emanates from the Latin degradus, which means a step down. So we are under someone else's authority because we never question the one who is writing the examination paper. Therefore, we have to become the masters of our own universe. That is the existential awakening. When, in essence, you move into your body, because the body is the unconscious mind. That is the secret. The emotion stands for the energy in motion. Therefore, once we realize that all we experience goes on in our body, it expresses itself within our body, the emotions do. So it's about letting go of this thinking and moving 100% into our movement of the body, of the expression of life itself. That is the awakening, because a lot of the times we don't have time right now. We don't even have time for ourselves. The existential awakening, which is the solution to the existential crisis, is about accepting yourself 100%. More so, it's about seeing that being free is our birthright. Because it's a big joke, just like the existentialist said. Yes, it's so true. Because many of us, we've been deceived. Not only through the media, which comes from the Greek goddess Medea, and her trait was cunning. It all goes back to ancient mythology. And that's why it's so amazing to see Earth's revival. People who are finding their power once again and realizing they came here to be free. To deal with the existential crisis, we have to see that at the root of all our problems is a lack of self-love. You begin loving yourself 100% when you go to the place you find your greatest power. And that is in alignment with creating and becoming the source of your own happiness. We're here. Fear no more. Let love guide you, not fear. We're doing something truly phenomenal. We're in here having fun. Another thing, we don't have to judge how we feel, our emotions. I feel good, I feel sad. We just have to allow the experience to flow through us. That silence, that void holds our greatest power. Because in essence, we are hearing the sound of the universe. A lot of us, you have a human being, so we are supposed to be being with ourselves, not running away from ourselves. Many of us, we are human doings. We are afraid of silence. And once you embrace silence, in essence, you embrace your shadow side, there is no crisis. There is only infinite abundance. We are here, enjoying ourselves, nothing to be afraid of. Only infinite expansion. Infinite waters, diving deep once again. Stay well, stay healthy. Peace.